Kai here with Matt Chatham at Gillette Stadium. The news we were all anticipating the last couple of days did come today. First-round pick N'Keal Harry went to injured reserve. The Patriots re-signed Demaryius Thomas. This means that Harry can come back in Week 9. He can start practicing in Week 6. He can come back after Week 8. Not the greatest thing for a first-round pick, but you do bring back Demaryius Thomas, so you kind of get that similar body into the offense. Then maybe after Week 8, they can readjust some things, but it is nice to at least get Thomas back in there.
Yeah, it's interesting how these cards fell, Doug, and I would say a first-rounder losing that big of a chunk of a season, about two-thirds of the season, that's not good. Of course, you want the continuity with the rest of the receiver group, with the quarterback group. You're going to lose a big chunk of that. You're allowed to sort of work alone for a time, then you get to reintegrate yourself for a few weeks, but we're talking sort of playoff run time when you actually get the guy back. What's very helpful here is the Jakobi Meyers story, and I know obviously that's sort of a behind-the-scenes thing, but imagine had you lost your first overall, maybe say Demaryius Thomas wasn't as much of a certain thing. You know, he has that huge fourth preseason game, and maybe it's still, hey, here's the guy who's just getting up to speed. And then you're really two bodies away. So the idea of Jakobi really ascending here late, and then also Demaryius Thomas looking guy who, yeah, he's ready to roll. So I think those two things really help sort of tamper any issues you'd have with losing a big-time guy like Harry. I still think he can be a big contributor down the stretch. It's unfortunate you lose that one big body, but as you mentioned, you get another big body back in Demaryius Thomas. I still think it's an awful strong group, especially when I haven't even mentioned Philip Dorsett here and Edelman, who's going to get a lot of balls himself, and Josh Gordon. So it's a very deep group. That said, you never like to lose your first rounder because this is obviously going to interrupt a little momentum for his first year.
Certainly helps that they got Gordon back from that suspension as well. No one really knew when he was going to come back, so that he is there for Week 1 definitely helps offset the Harry loss.
So it's one thing to hear us talk about it, but it's another to look at it on the screen. Here's the depth chart, and guys, that's some talent. Harry is off, but Thomas will join Julian Edelman, Josh Gordon, and Philip Dorsett. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the rest of the NFL's defenses.